So one of the things that surprised me about this second trip to Israel was, first of all, how much I missed the first time, or at least wasn't covered the first time. And so even though the second time we hit a lot of the same spots, at every spot there was information and angles and things that I hadn't even, it was like I'd never been before. It was like coming for the first time. And the other thing that really stood out to me is how many places there are that we didn't even go to. Things like Mount of Transfiguration, for example, or Mount Carmel, just all of these other places, thousands of other places that we didn't even get to go to. We were in the area of them, but it reminded me on this second trip what a vast wealth of information and history is all packed into that little place called Israel.
I had a lot of highlights there for myself. One was the tomb of Jesus, and then also having communion in the Garden of Gethsemane, which was a highlight. And one of my biggest was being baptized in the River Jordan. Masada was incredible as well, going up that cable car.
And once you got to the top, the view up there was gorgeous. You could see this Dead Sea.
Floating in the Dead Sea. If that's not on your bucket list now, it needs to be on your bucket list, because it was so amazing, so different than anything that I would have ever expected.
So I think that night we walked to the old city of Jerusalem and walked up to the Wailing Wall, and just seeing the lights and the Jewish people just honoring what they believe is true to them, and the women on one side and the men on the other, they're very dedicated to what they believe and very focused. I was sort of amazed at that.
Highlights for me were the old city of Jerusalem, and to see the excavations that had happened. And Matthew 24 verse 1 says, "Then Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said to them, 'Do you not see all these things? Assuredly, I say to you, not one stone shall be left here upon another that shall not be thrown down.'" And we actually saw those stones. They were excavated, and here we were standing on the outside of the city of Jerusalem looking at the stones that were thrown down in AD 70 when the temple was destroyed by when Rome came and sieged the city after the Jewish rebellion. And it was amazing to think of that scripture and to look at those stones.
What I really liked about it too, I was amazed about it, was the proportions. I really expected it to be bigger, for the cities to be further apart, but to be there in Jerusalem and say, oh look, there's Bethany on that hill right there. Or look, there's Bethlehem on that hill right there. I expected it to be so much bigger. That the Kidron Valley was just like, it seems smaller than here, looking at the canyon here. That was one of the things that really surprised me. So just to be able to see all that stuff and to put things in perspective, it helps really to put things in perspective.
Day 2 was one of my favorites, the Sea of Galilee. We were in Tiberias, and we took a boat ride through the Sea of Galilee, and just the weather that day was beautiful. The scriptures that you read, and you pointed out areas on the shoreline, and they played Christian music, and we all sang along, and that was a highlight day for me.
Probably the most emotional moment that I had was when we got to the Sea of Galilee, and just walking down to the Sea of Galilee, because that's how many of the people traveled back then, and you're studying about Jesus all your life, and to sit there and think that these are the places that Jesus walked, and his feet were touching this city. He had touched this city, and he was down at this sea, and he was on a boat, and to think, over in this area, that's where Jesus cast the demons, out, and they went into the swine, and the swine ran down. This is that area that happened over there. And to be able to just go on the Sea of Galilee and think Jesus walked on this water, Peter sunk in this water, And to be able to look at all of those different things and just reminisce and think about, these are the things that I've studied.